Hey Neppers, it's me, Wild Neptune, and in this Epic 7 video, doing something a little bit different, we're going to talk about real life money and the packs in the shop and their pricing and all of that. It's going to be a little bit different than a buyer's guide video because I already did one of those, and honestly, not much in the shop has changed since then. But before we get into it, I would appreciate it if you like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe follow me at Twitch at twitch.tv/WildNeptune. We play a plethora of games, have a lot of fun. Anyway, let's go. Full disclosure, I am not a economics professor, major, or expert, or anything like that. I just have played a lot of gacha games and MMOs, and I've seen a lot of cash shops, and I can typically understand what a game is going for in their monetary strategy based on the cash shop, and of course playing a little bit too, right? So with all being said, this video is inspired on by, I often see a lot of players in Epic 7 talk about the cash shop in the game, and by the cash shop I do mean the real money shop, and how the prices are pretty high, and I would agree. The pricing in Epic 7 for a lot of the items are pretty high, and a lot of players have pointed out that there aren't really any lower tier, quick few buck items for people to buy, and the argument that they give is that a lot of players want to spend, say, $5, $6, $10, $20 every now and then, and Epic 7 would make a lot more money, or Smilegate would make a lot more money if they did that. And maybe they would, but I'm going to argue that maybe they would not. And here are some of the reasons why. So, most of the packs that you see will be in the $30, $50, and $100 range. There are a few live subscription packs that are monthly buys, that are weekly buys even, that are $5, $10, and some of the really, really low value packs that are be $10 here, which nobody should honestly buy. But that's really going to be the pricing on most items. And again, this pricing is relatively high, regardless of really the value you get from the packs. Honestly, some of the newer ones for like $30 and $100, well, maybe not $100, but $30, $50, some of the value is actually relatively good, but it is relatively good value for relatively high pricing. Now, the first thing is not really totally related to the pricing, but it does relate to the store, and I think something a lot of people have noticed is that the number of packs in the shop in Epic 7 is relatively small compared to a lot of other gacha games. A lot of other gacha games have tons of options for you to buy. And I think in Epic 7's case, the limited items in the shop is intentional. There is a phenomenon that many people know about. It is called choice paralysis. It is when you are offered too many choices that are relatively equal in value, you end up not making any choice at all. And I feel like Smilegate is kind of banking on that. Hey, maybe a player will have an urge or make a rash choice to maybe buy something in the game. Maybe they are just a little bit off of getting that getting that mystic summon, right? Maybe they just need a few more leaves to do their hunt event. Maybe they just need a few more artifact charms to upgrade that artifact to plus 30. It is those type of quick decisions that a very limited store like this definitely benefits. Versus, say, a game where there are a lot of packs and there are items and similar items in a lot of them, and you have to do calculations on, is this one better or not, right? And in the time where you're doing those, it's very possible that you just lose your urge to spend, you forget why you had to do it in the first place, or you just say forget about it and hey, I'm gonna keep going without spending any money because it was just too much trouble in figuring out what to spend it on in the first place. Another thing you have to consider too is that FX7 is a closed storefront. So this matters, and what I mean by closed storefront is that Smilegate owns everything that they're selling in their store. So they're only competing with themselves when you're buying in their store. Now, this is important to know because it gives a little bit of light on how their pricing strategy is working. So let's take a look at the Leaf Pack 1 and 2. So it's no secret that the Leaf Pack 1 and 2 are really, really bad value, especially the Leaf Pack 1. So I can't show you right now because it's not in the shop, but there is a Burning Passion Pack. So for $1, you can get 3 leaves, I believe, and for $3, it is 10 leaves. So for $4, you get 3 plus 13 leaves. So for, let's put this guy so it's in 2. So for about $10, you get 26 leaves, which I would say is like about 3 times, 3 to 4 times the amount of leaves you get from Leaf Pack 1. Now, is the Burning Passion Pack really that amazing of a deal? No. It is a very good deal. However, because the Leaf Pack 1 is such a bad value, it makes the Burning Passion Pack seem incredible in comparison. Same thing with the Molagora value packs here, which are one-time only packs, but you get 15 here and then 18 here for 33 in total for $50. I believe the $100 Mola pack, if I'm not mistaken, gives you 33 also. So it's like the same amount for half. Same thing with all those collab packs and the holiday packs that come out too. Because they are stacked with a lot of items in comparison to the other packs, it definitely makes them seem a lot better than the other ones. Even if their value actually isn't that great, or much better when you break it down. I'm sure a lot of you are aware that FX7 has a reputation for being very free-to-play friendly in the gacha space, especially for a game that has PvP as one of its main focuses. So, the gap between a player that has spent tens of thousands of dollars, so like whale territory, and players that have spent a few $100s that started at the same time is actually not that far apart in the grand scheme of things. You're talking the difference between maybe a player that is going to be, more comfortably pushing in Legend, and a player that can hit Legend, but is definitely going to have to work harder at it. The difference between a player, though, that has spent no money at all, and a player that has spent a few $100s, overall, is actually a lot greater than I would say the difference between a player who spent like thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, players spent hundreds of dollars. This is not always the case because it is a gacha game, and luck is a big aspect of how you're going to be doing in the game. But from experience and from talking to people and how much they spend stuff like that, this is what I have gathered. But even the players who spend almost no money at all or are totally free to play, some of them have reached the highest ranks. Some of them are enjoying the game. They keep playing it. They keep liking the game. They don't have to spend any money to be successful. Now, this is likely to happen where you're going to reach the pinnacle of the game by being totally free to play. Probably not. These are one in a bazillion types of users, but it is possible. Luck is the great equalizer, really, in gacha games. Now, like I said, I think it is important for Smilegate to maintain this aura of being very free-to-play friendly, and because of this is one of the main reasons why I think adding these, not even dolphin, like trout, some other fish, flounder, I don't know, packs to the shop is not the best idea. Because what these value packs do a lot of the time, especially when there are too many of them, it starts to drive out the free-to-play community. And it makes it feel like, hey, I'm free-to-play, and because I see all these cheap packs, and these players that are more willing to spend a little bit of money are buying these packs now, I just feel the gap between me and those players get wider and wider and wider. At the same time, some of the borderline whales, not the bigger whales, right? The bigger whales are gonna spend money no matter what. But some of the players who spent a lot more money, they see, hey, why am I spending this $50 and instead I'm going to buying this? Instead, I can spend a lot less money, be almost as strong, and I can use my big brain game knowledge to get by. And that's what they do. So by adding that middle option, you are, yes, maybe getting people to buy some items that would have before, but at the same time, people in the higher tier might be scaling back and buying these lower priced items instead. And the reason why they might not be adding these mid-level packs to the shop or these value packs is that they just don't have to. They have a good strategy working right now, and you don't fix what is not broke. And again, there is risk in adding these mid-level packs to the shop because there's a really real chance that it would actually lose the money in the long term. Remember the meme of the 10-year plan? Well, Smilegate's strategy in their pricing and their store and their merchandise and stuff like that, it is all tying into the 10-year plan. Now, maybe this 10-year plan will become a 20-year plan, but I do expect that the game will become more money grabby as it gets towards the end of its life cycle, like all games do. So, like, not to be unexpected. But right now, it's doing very well. So right here, I'm on a Google Play Store top apps ranking for RPGs, top grossing, and in the US, Epic 7 is ranked number 5. Admittedly, the US is its strongest market, so in places like Japan, South Korea, stuff like that, it is ranked lower, like between like 10 to 20-ish range, but you know, it is still relatively strong. Now, I know that this doesn't tell the whole story or any story at all, it's just a ranking. Like, who knows, maybe every game below 4 is doing very poorly. That's not the case, but you know, just it's something who didn't know about any of these games could assume, I guess. It also doesn't tell you how many players are playing the game or how much money is actually being spent on the game at all. So you don't know the median amount of spend, you don't know the average amount spent, you don't know if it's, say, like 10 whales who spent all the money in Epic 7, right? Like, you don't know that. I do suspect, though, that the majority of the players in almost all these games are going to be free to play, and then there's like a slope where it's like, oh, people spend like $5 now and then, right? And then, like, as the spending keeps getting higher, the slope starts approaching closer and closer and closer to zero. I do think that Epic 7's curve right now in its free-to-play to its whale territory spenders is at a very good place to make the game, even in its PvP modes, feel very free-to-play friendly. Which is, I think, an overall strategy that Epic 7 is trying to go for. In conclusion, I think that adding more value or good packs, quote unquote, will make it that the free-to-play community of the game and the free-to-play mystique, what do you call it, of Epic 7 would slowly dissipate into the abyss. And it would just become a more pay-to-win type game that people tell you to avoid. And for the longevity of a game, especially one that is built like Epic 7 has been for their base, where they didn't start out as a heavy advertising, in-your-face type gacha game, might be the death of Epic 7. But that is just my take, and you are free to agree or disagree down below in the comments below. Anyway, I hope this has been a fun discussion for everybody. Everybody likes talking about money, I know. Anyway, I'm Wild Neptune. It's been a good one. Nep out.